Welcome to This Week in Location-Based Marketing, episode number 111, recorded live January 4th, 2013. On today's show, a quick look at the state of telematics, parking douche, that's enough said, I think, and a great campaign from Meatpack in Guatemala. Plus, our usual M&A and funding activity, our resource of the week, and special guest Greg McCalister, co-founder and CEO of PushPoint Mobile. And welcome, everybody, to episode number 111 of This Week in Location-Based Marketing. It is the new year. It's going to be tough for me to do this. January 4th, 2013. Is it 2013, 2013? Whatever. January 4th. It is our first episode of the brand new year. My name is Rob Woodbridge from Untethered.tv, located in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, but serving the entire planet. And with me, located in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, Mr. Asif Khan. How are you, buddy?
Hey. Happy 2013.
Yeah, I don't even know. What is it called? Is it
Asif Khan from the Location-Based Marketing Association. Looking forward to another fantastic year. 52 more episodes on the way, and it all starts right now.
Boy, does it ever. I'm a little leery. Is it 2013, 2013? Is it like the same as 2012? It takes us a little bit of time to get used to it, but...
I don't know. 2013.
2013. We had some great reaction last week from our predictions show, which I expected that there would be a great reaction. I think the one that stuck, Asif, was the, hey, data is the new oil. I saw that everywhere all of a sudden from that episode. So it was well received. If you guys haven't watched it yet, you should go out and download episode number 110 to see what our predictions are and the two companies that we think you guys should be watching, or that will be, canaries in this coal mine of location-based marketing for 2013. So it'll be, if you haven't done that, please go and do it and let us know what you think. It's now available up on Street Fight Mag, of course, and GPS Business News, our partners in syndication, also known as our partners in crime. You have a good New Year's there, buddy? Was it good?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty quiet. Just took it easy, saw a movie, went out with the kids, pretty simple stuff. So, for me, it was all about being home and not traveling, not going anywhere. So, yeah. Getting
acquainted with your family.
Exactly.
Setting them up for what is about to become a pretty hectic schedule. I know that you are heading to New York City for the Street Fight Mag summit, aren't you, next week?
Yes, so that week of the, not this week coming, but the week following, the week of the 14th, is a big week in New York. We have the NRF, National Retail Federation's big show, and also the Street Fight Summit the same week. So it's going to be crazy times in New York City.
And you don't go to CES or any of those ones, do you?
I have in the past. I'm not going this year, but there's a lot of retailers that we work with that are going to be there. So I think it's going to be a good show this year.
Yeah, well, I think for once it's going to be. I haven't been in many years, but I often find that you go there with an agenda and to get some business done, but. CES, it's the new season is upon us, and so with it comes. I would say that this was because we didn't do a news show last week, because we did our predictions. There's been so much news that is kind of piled up over this holiday. The retail season was kind of, I don't think it was a bust, but I just don't think that it was as good as people anticipated. And if the inbox is any indication, I have received a sale email from the Gap group of companies, Banana Republic, the Gap, and Old Navy, every single day, outdoing the previous day's discounts and coupons. And I think that, just by that alone tells me that retail's in turmoil, and it wasn't as good a season as they'd anticipated. And plus, I don't think that has echoed obviously across this industry. It's just it must have been brutal for a lot of these companies these past few weeks, and then the fiscal cliff, and then the NHL lockout, and oh my God, there's nothing going on. So except for in the location-based marketing world, is that true?
And then you got Canada losing in the World Juniors. Like, come on, no, I'm just.
Well, it depends. I don't. You know what? I don't think that there was as a big emotional attachment to this tournament. For those of you who are unfootball hockey fans, we're Canadian, we have to bring it up, is that because the games are being, they're in Russia, and no offense to our Russian listener, the one out there, or two, but the games are being broadcast here in Canada at 3:30 in the morning, and the bronze medal game is tomorrow morning, Saturday morning at 3:30 in the morning. So it's not as attached as if we were watching it in prime time, and I think it kind of went unnoticed a lot in Canada, but except for this ridiculous lockout. Chris Sacca posted or retweeted somebody who said that, listen, you know what, fiscal cliff averted. I don't know, 9 trips to the space station. There was a whole bunch of negotiations with oil workers and electricians and other striking teachers. And this happened in this 110 days that the NHL strike has been on, and we still can't come to an agreement about a stupid sports game. It's so ridiculous. Anyways, had to put it in there as a Canadian. Why don't we jump into this week's? Yeah.
Let's do it.
Big show. Certainly we've got a mix of big companies, small companies, some great news from Google. I don't know what this means to Navtech and Apple. We're going to talk about a little bit about the mapping world. We got some really awesome story from Meatpack, which is a Guatemalan shoe company. This campaign is awesome, and we've got a great video to showcase that. Great site out of Russia called Parking Douche, and just not a word of a lie.
Wait, see, after you just said we have like 2 viewers in Russia.
Exactly. Well,
I decided to pull a story from Russia this week to kind of up the numbers there. So there you go.
I mean, this is a great story, and then I can't wait. We'll show you a video of that as well, and then some news from locally here. Patch and Starbucks talking about the fiscal cliff, trying to avert the fiscal cliff, which was averted. For those of you who didn't know, you can come out of your bunker now. The world is not ending, and nor is the financial collapse imminent in the United States. And then, of course, Roamz. We got our usual funding and acquisition news, a great resource about starting in the world of customer experience in mobile payment. And then, of course, we've got Greg McCalister, who is the co-founder and CEO of PushPoint Mobile. And that's all in this episode. Who knew that we would be able to do a January 4th episode with so much stuff? Let's get it going. Our first story. Now, the fiscal cliff is over. Everything's fine. But Patch and Starbucks took it upon themselves to, I think this was led by Patch, but took it upon themselves to see what they could do to influence somehow fixing the debt with a whole bunch of initiatives, localized initiatives around the Washington, D.C. area. Why don't you dive into this, Asif? Let us know what this was.
Yeah, so I mean, Patch is a company that personally, I've been waiting for them to step up and do something really amazing, and this is certainly not something that's really amazing, but I expect big things from Patch in 2013. I think this is going to be their year where they hung around. Last year on the prediction show, like the 2012 prediction show, I said this was a company that was going to fall in dire times. They didn't do a lot last year, but they're still here. They hung around, and I think this year actually is a year that we're going to see some good things from them in terms of really hyper local news and publishing and all kinds of great stuff. And so they partner with Starbucks, around the fiscal cliff stuff. So this is actually a story from before it actually all got solved, because we're still catching up here. But what they did was they worked with a bunch of Starbucks locations in the Washington, D.C. area. And as people came in to get their Starbucks coffee in the morning or whatever time of day it was, the employees would write a simple message, a handwritten message on the cup that said "Come together." And so they were trying to encourage, all of the politicians that were coming into the Starbucks locations, and picking up their cup of coffee, with this little message that way to show that, people care, people are following this stuff. It's, it's not just you politicians locked in a room there that are trying to figure this out, but everybody's concerned about this. And Patch was, basically providing coverage around that, on a localized way through their various channels. So, not a national thing, localized to Washington, D.C. area for sure. But, nice to see, 2 big organizations, AOL and Patch, and on the one side, and Starbucks on the other, kind of coming together to try and do something, trying to bring visibility to the issue.
Yeah, nothing wrong with this. Nothing more to say about it other than, it is a location-based marketing initiative. It's only in the Washington area. How many, like 8 Starbucks or 9 Starbucks did this? And I like the personal touch of writing it on the cups. And look, it worked. Way to go, Patch and Starbucks. You averted the fiscal cliff. Nice. I was saying to Asif right before we went to record this, is that I think that if corporations really wanted to do something, they would step up and donate some of their own profits that are coming out of our pockets out of a $4 cup of coffee to averting the fiscal cliff. Because they're talking about that, it would have been an average of $1,600 increase in yearly taxes for every homeowner or every resident in the United States, I think it was. And hey, that's probably what somebody spends at Starbucks. So give back. But they averted it. So Patch and Starbucks join to solve the fiscal cliff issue. Is that a good sense? That's what going to be the title of this episode.
There you go.
Story number 2. This is, I'm not so sure about this one. This is a company called Roamz that has leveraged Google Maps iOS API that was released at the time, obviously, when Google Maps came out for iOS, and they're building a service here that I think is indefensible and lacking of a direction and lacking of a business model, especially when they're using somebody else's data that will eventually compete in this space. But that's my assessment. Now Asif is going to walk us through what this is exactly.
So Google Maps on the iOS side put out an SDK just a little while ago that enables people to leverage all of the Street View components, in particular, of their mapping capability. And so this is the first, or they're claiming anyways, I don't know of any others, the first implementation of that SDK, layer on top of that. So Roamz, they're a local search company. They exist in web and mobile properties, and they're calling it a Street View for social. So the idea of what they're trying to go for here is that you're walking along, you do a search for whatever pizza, it pulls up a map, and then you're able to visualize almost as you're walking. And on your iPad, you're viewing this on your iPad, you can tilt and twirl and move your iPad around, almost in an augmented reality way is how I visualize this. I haven't had a chance to play with it, but and you're getting pop-ups positioned on the screen showing you where a pizza deal is or where a place is, kind of popping onto the screen, via the Street View technology. So. Nice that they were able to leverage the SDK. I'm with you on this. I think it's a very tough thing to defend against because at the end of the day, why, what's to stop Google from, saying, oh, we're turning that off now? Do you know what I mean? Like it's like there's just nothing. You need to build your own stuff if you're going to go down this road. And quite frankly, I think there's a lot of stuff you can do in the same framework using AR technology or using other things. Look at what the Valpak guys did with the Genio, the AR guys. Same kind of thing, same kind of concept that we see here. You're in their case, you're walking along with the Valpak couponing app and using Genio's augmented reality thing. As you're walking down the street, you get pop-ups, pushed in AR mode, showing you where there are retailers near you that have coupons, Valpak, blue envelope coupon, but in this case in a mobile augmented display. So I don't see anything really different here from that perspective, and it's a lot less defensible, using this technology than some AR stuff.
Adding value onto this. Like all they're doing is recreating what Google already has, right? That's what I don't understand is that if you're going to rely on Google's data, then create a layer on top of that is unique to what Google will do, because Google has the install base, obviously, and the pent-up demand, obviously. And so to build something that Google can build, has already built, it doesn't make any sense to me. So this is a company that's obviously struggling to try to find its way.
Yeah. Now, I will say, without completely slamming Roamz, the search piece of what they have is very good. I have seen that before. So without this Google piece, as Roamz, in terms of what they were doing before, I'm talking about now, it's really good because they aggregate content, from Foursquare, from Facebook, from Twitter, in terms of putting, local assets and local data together in one place. And as an aggregator, that's, they've done a good job of that. So in terms of helping you find what you need near you, instead of relying on just one input, at least they've got, multiple inputs coming there. And have done a good job of integrating that. But the same premise applies, right? It's still if Foursquare turns off their API tomorrow, and and Twitter and Facebook do too, and then what happens? What do you have? What's left?
Yeah,
not a lot.
It's not. You just can't defend, and we've seen this happen all the time. Twitter said that no, we'll never do that, but they did. I mean, and look what they did to their development community. Foursquare will do the same when the pressure comes that they need to generate revenue. They are going to close their ecosystem in order to be able to bring people into the Foursquare ecosystem and stop leveraging that data in order to be able to make money. There's a pattern here, folks, and I think that the big challenge with Roamz is that they moved away from a serendipitous discovery and into really about. Searching. They went into discovery, and I think that this is beyond that. They just went back. They took 3 steps back with this app. Maybe they're just trying to demonstrate it. It's cool being the first, but the first at what? I don't get it. So, I'm hoping. But if you're interested in checking them out, go to Roamz, ROAMZ.com, and it's an iPad app that we're talking about, and it's not out yet as of as of January 4th. It should be out sometime in the next week or so on iPad, and then a different variation of it for the iPhone. So ROAMZ or Z, depending on what country you are, .com. Sorry, Roamz. I hope for the best. I just think you should bear down and focus on what you need to get done. Start making some money. All right, so this is, man, I love this story. How many times, Asif, have you been hammered in to a parking spot? Like, you know what? Like, you had a lot of space up front, the car left, some guy or gal backs in and keeps you, so it's the 19-point turn to get out of that parking spot that you parallel parked in. Or the guy here in Ottawa, anyways, we have snowbanks that are 6 feet high and 6 feet wide, and a 2-lane street now is a 1-lane street because we're in the middle of winter, and a guy just parks, with his end out a little bit so that the street is impassable. Right? And you have to go around, you have to back up and turn around, and the guy's he's a parking douche, right?
The Village, an online city newspaper that really cares for the city and its citizens. Douche parking is a huge problem in cities in Russia. Okay, there aren't many places to park, but there are people who just don't care about others. The Village.ru has decided to make such behaviour socially unacceptable using digital media. We've created a free app. It takes pictures of wrongly parked cars, recognises car number plates, the car model and colour. The data is streamed live to banner ads that are targeted through an IP address, so people who live or work close to locations where these cars were parked see it. These banners appear as pop-ups on websites, so you can see the actual car and its registration number that has been photographed, interrupting you while you're trying to read an online article. When you roll your cursor over the banner, it lets you know that this particular car is annoying people in a certain street in your city right now. In order to get rid of this annoying car, you simply share the photo of the parking douche on social media, such as Facebook. Then it'll disappear. Thanks to your IP address, only douches in your area will be highlighted, so all the offenders will be exposed to their colleagues, friends and neighbours. Thanks to this naming and shaming campaign, more and more people are now caring about where and how they park.
Exactly. He's a parking douche.
Now there's a site in Russia.
I absolutely love this story. And it comes from Russia. So there's a newspaper group or an online city newspaper there called The Village. You can find them at thevillage.ru if you're looking for them. And so they put out a mobile app called Parking Douche. It's Android and iOS. And basically what it does is that, you can go around and you can take photos of people who've, inappropriately parked. Or just made it harder for you, as you just described, to get out of a spot, or they've just parked in a bad way. And so you can take a photo, registration number, type, color. You can tag all that stuff along with it. And then what I really like about this is the next piece of it. It's not just taking photos and posting them. They then take that data and they stream it live to a pop-up banner ads that target people whose IP addresses are close to those locations of where those cars are parked. I mean, that is that's pretty cool. So you're sitting in your office, and a banner ad comes up on your whatever you're browsing, and it's showing you some guy whose car is parked inappropriately across the street. I mean, that's pretty cool.
And I wonder if they've ever had somebody say, "Hey, wait, that's my car." I think that would be the coolest circle ever.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. I've actually reached out to these guys. I'm going to try and see if we can get some data on this or turn it into a case study or something.
Well, I mean, I think this is so cool. When I was growing up, when I was much younger, before this whole digital revolution took over and smartphones and digital, and we didn't have to worry about mobile anything except for that. You were mobile, and but we used to stick signs on windshield wipers that was basically Mickey Mouse giving the finger, saying, next time you park here, leave a can opener, asshole, or something like that. And that's the equivalent to this. And I think that this is bigger. I almost think about it like the John camera, for prostitution and Johns. It's the same thing. It's like the humility that you feel because you're the douche that left your car there. I think this is great. I think that this is fun. It's a fun use of this technology, and good on them for doing this. So this is pretty cool. So you would have seen the video by now, and this is what the lighter side of digital technology, and hopefully nobody was offended.
Love it.
So good on you, parking douche. I love it. All right, our fourth story, this may be a little bit of a longer story, so just to give you a heads up, because this is around Google partnering with Kia for in-car navigation and in-car maps and awareness and discovery. And I think that this is something that's big. It has, I think, far-reaching impact to other providers of this data as well, and it just shows you how important Google has become to the ecosystem, the wayfinding ecosystem. And but Kia is just one of the latest that Google is packing on.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big story because it kind of looks at the whole telematics space, which is going through a lot of changes, or has been going through a lot of changes over the last 12, 18 months, and continues to do so. Just in the way people are accessing maps in vehicle. We're seeing a big shift, obviously, away from, sort of personalized devices, the TomToms and Garmin's to, built in almost in every vehicle. Any new vehicle now has a built-in nav system. And so what we're seeing here is, companies like, Google in this particular case with Kia, starting to ramp up their sales efforts and work directly with the car manufacturers to get their technology in there. And so in this case, you have Google Maps, Google Places data going into Kia's UVO platform. But we've seen, Microsoft obviously working with Ford. We've seen, BMW, working with Navtech in other markets. So we're seeing this over and over again on a number of different car manufacturers and sort of operating system mobile platforms all coming together.
Yeah, and I mean, Google is working with Hyundai, Audi, Daimler, Tesla Motors in order to implement some sort of Google implementation. Now, this could just be send to car, this send to car to technology. But this used to be in the domain of Navtech and Garmin, and all of a sudden, these guys are choosing a platform. Like the car makers are choosing Google as a platform over all of the other companies. And I think that this is, once Google is in the car, this really is a hard for the other companies to get back into it once a platform's been chosen like this. Because what I'm thinking is that this is probably like a long-term investment in this technology by these massive trend makers in automobiles to be able to bring Google into the car. But I always think, like, is this just a phase? And will the device rise supreme in this area? Like I use Waze on my iPhone as my navigation unit instead of having it in Dash. So I wonder how this plays out with Google there. In Dash, based on operating system, and then where does Navtech fit in this? This is going to be like hurting Navtech, and then there's that last piece of it all, which is Apple signing deals to bring Siri into the car. So you've got, I mean, this is all of a sudden the car telematics is a battleground for these giant companies: Microsoft, Google, Apple, Navtech, which is Nokia. Like this is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think at the moment, I think you sort of have to look at it, in terms of categories of functionality. So on the one hand, if you look at voice technology, obviously Apple is leading that battle at the moment with Siri, and they're working with almost every car manufacturer right now to try and bring that kind of technology to bear. When you look at sort of OS in car, There's a battle going on between Navtech and Google at the moment, around, sort of, where that's going to go. And you mentioned, Hyundai, you mentioned, Kia, which really is the same company.
Audi. I mean, big brands like Audi.
Hyundai owns Kia. So, so they're working with Google in this case. Navtech's working with BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen, so a lot of the German manufacturers have been working with them. So you have a battle for OS in car. And then I think, the other piece which you alluded to is the send to car piece. And I think personally, that's the one where, there's the most opportunity right now from a visibility perspective with the consumer. Because, if I'm an Android user on a mobile, from a mobile perspective as a consumer, well, then I want to be able to send stuff into my car from my mobile phone to the car system. And so I want that to work on any car. And I think Google's, is trying to address that and sitting down with every car company saying, you want to work with us. There's a significant user base of Android smartphones out there, and people want to be able to send stuff from their Android phone into the car. And the same goes for Apple, and the same goes for Nokia. So I think on a send-to-car capability, I think you're going to see broad support across all automobile manufacturers for all the major platforms.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add to that. I just think that this is a fascinating battle. Simply put, this is not. I keep coming, but there was an Internet World article. This is how old it is, like mid 90s, 96, 97, where they talked about the internet in a car, and wouldn't be that be great? And everybody said, "Are you kidding? That's the worst thing I've ever heard." And here we are. It's taken a long time. I mean, 15 years, 16 years is a long time for that to come. But it wasn't brought by broadband to the car. It's brought through mobile devices to the car. And I think that this is a very cool space. And there are a lot of people playing in here, a lot of money to be made in here because you've got a captive audience. And all you start to see is this kind of enabling of services. So once you get the maps in from Google, then what's to stop them from doing, bringing in social networking, bringing in the email clients, and then start to think about this, partnering with Netflix or Hulu to bring in broadcast. And all of a sudden, it's no longer about cable or DVDs in the car. It's about Hulu and Netflix broadcasting over the air to these cars instead of DVDs. I think that this is just a fascinating place to watch. And I can't tell you how cool this is. And it will happen very quickly. That's all we know. It'll happen very quickly. Once Google's in there.
Yeah, without doubt.
So Google partnering with Kia for in-car navigation and apps and discovery. And this is just step one of this infiltration of our automobiles. I think it's pretty cool. One of the other companies that we didn't talk about was RIM. Like, oddly enough, we didn't talk about RIM. RIM, because they bought QNX and that operating system, the QNX operating system, it powers automobiles already, right? They have a great in-car experience with the QNX operating system. It hasn't been BlackBerry-fied or anything like that. But they're another player in this space that when it comes to telematics that we haven't talked about. And it's very interesting. This is a battle. All of a sudden, cars are...
We'll see. I mean, BB10 is supposed to be, just weeks away now.
January 30th. Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Right. So, I agree, though. There's definitely a role for them to play there. A lot of people are waiting, and it's going to be a complete, resurgence for them in terms of at least, holding what they have. Or it's going to be, just the final nail in the coffin to say, okay, it's Android or iPhone, and that's it.
I think the writing's been on the wall for a long time. We used to have a litmus test.
All right.
We had a litmus test about RIM, and I just want to say this is that we had this litmus test whenever they were about to release a device. How many executives would we see carrying that device around? That would kind of indicate the readiness of the device. And so when the Curve came out a long time ago, we saw a lot of people carrying those devices everywhere they went. How many people have you seen walking around with a BBOS 10 device? Right? Like, how many executives? I've been to a lot of events, and I haven't seen a lot. There are a lot in the developers' hands, and they're not happy with them. I've not seen a lot of executives using them, and they are 26 days away from launch. That's a big sign. All right, back to location-based marketing stuff. Our last story, we're going to watch this video, and we're going to come back. This is freaking awesome.
Yeah, I'm in the Nike store. There he is. He's getting the message. There's a promotion for BPAC. I think so. Yeah, we got him. Big bubble!
Meatpack is the trendiest shoe store in Guatemala, a brand known for its edgy, cutting style and a store known for its unique discounts in limited edition kicks including brands like Adidas, Nike and Reebok. An icon for the sneakerhead subculture with over 60,000 fans on their fan page in less than a year. They needed to launch a new promotion that lived up to their hardcore fans, an innovative way to earn your discount. We created Hijack, an enhancement for the official Meatpack app used by our customers, using GPS tracking technology that marks every competitor's store of the brand sold at Meatpack. So every time one of our sneakerheads enters one of the stores, it triggers a special notice with a promotion. Hijack sends an alert to the person's mobile with a discount that starts at 99% and decreases by 1% every second that goes by, making the countdown stop until you reach our store. More than 600 customers were hijacked from the competitors in a week. One customer, Pedro Rodriguez, got a record-breaking 89% discount. This is the first promo campaign that started the sale in the competitors' stores.
I absolutely love this too. This is the kind of stuff, we talk a lot about, driving revenue and, conversion and all that kind of stuff. And, getting people into your store, and away from your competitor is always at the heart of every retail marketer's, thinking. And, this is in Guatemala, folks. This is in Guatemala. Okay. This is not the US of A. This is not, in Sweden. This is not in Canada. This is in Guatemala. So Meatpack, which is a shoe store company, and they compete with Nike and Adidas, and it's a local brand. They put out a campaign called Hijack, and basically the way it works, very simply, you saw the video there. The way it works is that when you, as a potential customer, walk into a competitor store, they've geofenced those competitor stores using GPS capabilities, and the minute you walk into a store on this app, it pops up a countdown timer. Okay. That starts at 100, and basically it just counts down. It's in seconds, okay, and it's counting down the time it takes you to when you see this timer start to get from the competitor store into their store, and whatever time's left when you walk in, that's the discount that you get off of their shoes. One guy got an 89% discount, okay. It's 1% per second. So
I absolutely love this. I can't imagine scaling this, but from that one example, there's got to be something out there that you guys can do.
They had 600 in 1 week when they ran this. They had 600 people do this.
That's 600 sales that were in other people's stores, driven to yours. Like that. This is aggressive. This is using this technology to its greatest capabilities, and it's showing success in where and so unique, so innovative. The time-based.
And I believe this is, we give credit where credit's due. I think this is Saatchi and Saatchi came up with this one for them. So there you go.
Good on them, man. Like I saw this, I died. I thought this was incredible. This was a really good use. So Saatchi and Saatchi, if that is in fact who did this, I tip my hat to you. So you've seen the video, and what else can you say? Enjoy that and learn from that. Is there anything that you can replicate? Go, I don't care. Steal that idea, Saatchi and Saatchi.
Absolutely.
Like there's lots of things you can do with something like that. Time-based deals, geofencing. It's the perfect example of what we've been talking about here for 2 years, folks. God love it. Somebody's listening. All right, those are the top 5 stories. We averted the fiscal cliff. We've got Google in every car. We've got Google everywhere when it comes to mapping. We got the parking douche, and of course we got Meatpack and their Hijack campaign. What else do you want on a January 4th, a blustery January 4th, 2013? If you have any stories out there, if you were thinking of something that should have been in here, if you have an idea for a story, if you want to submit something, please reach out. Rob@untether.tv or sif@thelbma.com. We will include them in here some way, shape, or form. Maybe they're not suitable for a top story, but maybe they are, in fact, good to support the top story. We'd love to hear from more examples of, if you've got an example of a great campaign that you've run in the location-based world, like the Meatpack campaign, let's highlight that. Let's share that. You've used it. Let other people use it. Let's share. So the theme of 2013 has got to be about sharing. Steve, how's that?
I'm all with you on
Share
that.
everything. All right, you had an opportunity to sit down with Greg McCalister, who's the co-founder and CEO of PushPoint Mobile. What was this? Who is this? Can't wait to hear about it. Let's talk about this. Talk about your conversation. Set this up, man.
So earlier, before the holidays, actually, I had a chance to sit down with Greg McCalister, who's co-founder and CEO of PushPoint Mobile, another great LBMA member company, and we're really happy to have them on board. And these guys are really interesting, as you'll hear in this interview. That a lot of the companies we talk about are so focused on the consumer market, whereas these guys are really focused on sort of B2B, platform licensing and so on around location-based and mobile services. So here it is, Greg McCalister, co-founder and CEO of PushPoint Mobile. Well, it's that time again where we get to bring on a special guest, and this week it's my pleasure to have Greg McCalister, co-founder and CEO of PushPoint Mobile, join us. Greg, welcome to This Week in Location-Based Marketing.
Thank you very much. Very excited to be here. Hi, everybody.
Yeah, so first of all, really, really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to do this. PushPoint's based in San Francisco. We've got a lot of great member companies like you guys out there. So first of all, we're happy to have you as part of the LBMA. But maybe just to kick things off, can you share with our audience, just who is PushPoint Mobile? What are you guys all about?
Sure. So PushPoint is a location-based marketing platform for local business, so for retailers of all sizes. Some of the big differences, though, is that we focus on channel partner reach to small merchants. We're not looking to build our own brand necessarily. We'd like to leverage brands that the merchants are already comfortable working with. And so we work today with a large retail bank and a large print platform for extension to their small business channel. Another big difference is that we're primarily focused on customer acquisition versus a loyalty play, which there's a lot of value in loyalty, a lot of companies focused on that space. We're looking to find consumers in range of the business, drive in foot traffic, and ultimately impact top-line sales for the merchant. And so as a result of that, we're not an app, we're all in browser, we focus on paid advertising as our reach, and ultimately we work with with a franchisor or a payment platform or directly with merchants to integrate with their point of sale to be able to attribute in-store sales data back to the advertising data so that in the self-service tool, the merchant can see very easily what's working and what's not, and they feel empowered to manage these campaigns themselves.
Great. So I heard a lot of interesting things there. First of all, so you're not consumer facing. You're a back end provider. You're doing a lot of private or white labeling. You're empowering merchants and retailers. To kind of build this into their own solution sets. And the other thing I heard you say is you're all about customer acquisition, not loyalty. So you're about helping them drive traffic, increasing footfall, those kinds of things. So right. You mentioned channel partners. I know you work with a lot of channel partners. Can you give us an example of how you've helped one in particular?
Sure. I'll talk about a couple, and I think in doing so, it'll kind of reflect the flexibility of the system that we've built. One of our customers is a large retail bank based on the West Coast, where they want to sit in between their merchant clients and their consumers on the retail side, allowing the merchants to use our self-service tools, branded as the banks, to create and manage location-based offer campaigns that are distributed into their mobile wallet application. Thereafter, it's very integrated. The consumer experience is very seamless. For our other major customer, which is the largest payment platform in the U.S., we're integrated into their mobile POS and mobile checkout system, allowing the merchant, again, to use self-service tools to create the campaigns, distribute them to consumers within range, and everything is integrated into the point of sale. In their case, distribution is through email, through social channels, and then independent of those focuses, we can also buy in real time ad impressions on mobile devices within range of the store. A lot of that can be done on a performance basis today. It can be done with a lat-long overlay in a growing number of cases. And so we want to act more like a customer acquisition engine that can employ all of these different channels and reach as many consumers in range of the business as possible.
Great. And so when you think about the, sort of the location aspects of what provide in your platform, and then you think about, the types of channel partners and merchants that you're powering, I mean, is there a particular gap that you sort of saw in the market that needed to be addressed? And the other thing I'm really excited about is that, we see so many consumer-facing solutions out there, and not a lot of great platforms that are sort of, back end, sitting behind the scenes, that aren't trying to build their own brand out there. So why did you take that approach?
Well, fundamentally, we felt like the app model in retail is very challenged, right? If you're not Nordstrom's, you're not CVS, it's very difficult to get enough users to acquire enough users to use your app, to get them using the content and have access to promotions that you would distribute within it. So, starting even at the top level, we felt like there was value we could provide in being able to extend the reach of an offer beyond the sort of the bottleneck of an application download. But even at the other end, the long tail merchant, the small merchant, we feel like they're somewhat disenfranchised with respect to their access to location-based marketing tools, which, arguably mobile is becoming everything, and of course location-based is primarily mobile-focused. As the digital circular replaces the local circular, the print circular, print listings go away. Local service providers are retooling to sell digital. In this time gap and in that market gap, we felt like there's an opportunity to serve a type of merchant that is growing. Is getting more and more confused with the options in mobile marketing today, is having difficulty measuring mobile's effectiveness and attributing it to in-store sales, and ultimately gaining access to these types of systems at an economical level to make sense for their business and the amount of time they want to spend working on marketing.
Yep.
I feel there's a lot of impact that we can have there. And doing that through brands that or software or technology services they're already using makes it that much easier for them to adopt it.
It's fantastic. So, and it's really great that you're going after the market in that way. I think there's a lot of challenges out there for merchants and retailers today. There's a lot of noise, in terms of just the plethora of solutions. And everybody knocking on their door, coming at them from all different angles. But I like the approach that you're taking, and I really appreciate you spending some time with us today and sharing a little bit of insight into what is PushPoint Mobile. So again, for our audience, been chatting today with Greg McCalister, co-founder and CEO of PushPoint Mobile. For more information on them and their solution sets, you can go to www.pushpointmobile.com. To learn more. And again, just thanks for being on This Week in Location-Based Marketing.
Been an absolute pleasure. Happy holidays, everybody.
Cheers. So that was, again, Greg McCalister. We really appreciate Greg taking the time to share with us. And, if you're looking for, as a business, a retailer, a restaurant chain, or you're a platform that's looking for functionality around, how to integrate analytics and couponing and all of that into what you're doing, it's a great place to start. So take a look, PushPoint Mobile, and Greg McCalister. Thanks.
Thanks, Greg. PushPointMobile.com. Really appreciate people coming on. If you'd like to be a guest, reach out. You can reach out at rob@untether.tv or asif@thelbma.com. And hey, pitch us. We'd love to have you on here. We have a great reach now, so let's help spread the word. Let's spread the love, like we just did with Greg. Thanks, Greg. All right, we've got a few more items of business before we end this week. The first one is around our funding and M&A activity. First story is my favorite company in the whole planet. My favorite company. I love this company. It's the greatest company on the planet. No, wait. Oh, no. We're talking about Groupon. Well, Groupon's spending a little bit of money that they have, what little they have left. They bought a company called CommerceInterface. Then this isn't for core Groupon. This is for their Amazon competitive product, isn't it?
Yeah, so I love your comment about what little money they have left, and it's sort of true. But here's the interesting thing is CommerceInterface, from what I can tell, is a company who actually makes money.
Yes.
From
Groupon.
In some respects, Groupon's actually I think this is a good acquisition.
Well, wait a second though.
The valuation's not crazy.
Asif, but this is a company. This is a company called CommerceInterface, and their number one client was Groupon. So they made money from Groupon. So now,
well, yeah, I mean, so they're getting some of it back. How's that?
I'm just trying to think of so they bought a company.
Isn't that what we call that horizontal integration in business world, right?
Wow.
Yeah. Anyhow, did you see an actual number on this acquisition? I didn't.
No. But the thing is that
I saw something about a 1.5 billion in global billings.
Well, yeah. So that's what Groupon's service, which is the pardon me. This is.
Is that how much they've been paying these guys?
Yeah, exactly. No, Groupon Goods. Groupon Goods has done $1.5 billion worth of revenue flow through, right? And so this company, which is CommerceInterface, basically brings together all these disparate products into one interface, and so you can see the marriage there. But they're saying that CommerceInterface has had no funding, and has no outside funding, and has been. I think they were founded in 2007, and they seem to be sustaining themselves, but they grew to a point where Groupon was all consuming. So all of their revenue, or a good portion of their revenue, came through apparently from the articles that I read through Groupon. So obviously it makes sense for Groupon to buy them, but they're not. Groupon's not buying revenue. They're just basically buying an expense.
They're buying an expense. They're bringing it in house to control costs. How's that?
I don't know. I don't know much about this company. I do know that they provide a valuable service to Groupon Goods, and Groupon Goods is apparently this company that is going to compete with Amazon, or a division of Groupon that is going to compete with Amazon in the real goods discount space, not the coupon space. But who knows? I didn't see a number, but I mean, this is probably a good buy for Groupon if they were spending a lot of money with this company to begin with.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, if you're interested in, you can go to, I think it's CommerceInterface.com, but all they tell you is basically, hey, we were bought by Groupon. So, it's now part of the Groupon family. So Groupon buys CommerceInterface for next to nothing, or just a swap, an expense, a revenue for expense. All right. Can we move on to the second story? I love Groupon so much. We could talk about it all day. Second story is a company called, what is this? An Indian company called Squeakee.
Squeakee, yeah. So they raised an angel round, small round, and about $500,000. And this is a company that we don't know a lot about yet, because they haven't officially launched. I understand they've been in sort of a beta mode, but it's a search engine for finding location-based offers. So they've been working with bricks and mortar retailers as well as online retailers in India, and basically putting all these offers together in a search engine format. So instead of you just going and finding the offers from one particular retailer, or finding or obviously signing up to, as you do, to all of the Gap company email blasts, and only getting their stuff from a effectively building a local search engine just to target and find offers around you. So there's a lot of these out there, but maybe not so much in the Indian market, and we'll see where this one goes. But $500,000 to get it done.
It's probably a good investment, a good investment amount. I'm not sure about the business model, but a good investment amount. And so Squeakee raises. I found a website. It's squeakee.com. SQUEAKEE.com, and in fact, this is the company, but it's certainly there's not a lot in Ottawa, so $500,000. Last funding story is a company called Kyruss.
I'll go with that.
Kyruss. Yes, shortage of domain names now. We're definitely into this. Tell us about this company. You must love this because it's right in your analytics, big data. Oh, sweet spot.
Data is the new oil. Man. Come on. So I love this for two reasons. One is about data. Two is it's about healthcare data. We don't talk a lot about healthcare on this show. But data is data, and location-based stuff can be used in all sorts of different industries, and I like what they're doing here. So it's a Boston-based company. They raised $11 million. It's a Series B round for them. They've been around for about 2 years, just over 2 years. launched in 2010. And so in total, they've raised almost 20 million bucks now. The new investors here are Fidelity Biosciences and Lux Capital. So Fidelity is in Boston, Lux is out in New York. And previously they had Highland Capital and Venrock involved. So they got some serious VC backing behind this company. And what they're doing is they're digging into data and they're trying to find out which doctors are most efficient at which procedures and why. With the ultimate goal of, if you can pull that data together and you have access to that data, it helps you understand and helps you minimize costs around, care provision, hospitals, a whole bunch of different things. So what's the location element to that? You might say, well, for me, it's that, if I can improve healthcare for patients and I can prevent, costs that don't need to be there by leveraging data. So if I can understand that, there's a specialist who can serve, the particular needs of this patient, instead of having somebody travel out of their jurisdiction to go to a specialist, that might be, on reputation or something, might be, recommended. And so they travel from, Atlanta, to go to Savannah, to get care because they heard, some guy over there is, a great doctor. But, you actually have data that says there's a local doctor in Atlanta that can do that, and have data to back that up. There's cost savings there, right? Across the system. So it is about understanding, location in that context and finding and matching, and partnering up based on real data.
Data is the beginning. It's what you do with that data that's most important. Yeah. And we're starting to see this across all areas of business and practices. And healthcare, I think, is really a key one. I sat down with Jacqueline Thong, who is the founder of a company called Ubiki Health, and it's almost along the same lines that they're taking the data, they're taking the big data of what they're collecting. They have 30,000 people that are using an app to track migraines, and this is just a small thing, right? Migraines are a black hole. The brain is a black hole when it comes to migraines. Certain things work with certain people, but they're tracking patterns, and they're tracking where you are, the barometric pressure, the temperature, what you've eaten, when you get them, how they respond, what drugs respond, what if caffeine helps you. Like my wife's, when she feels a migraine coming on, she takes a couple of Advil and a Red Bull. And it seems to, kill the symptoms. So those are the kind of things that they're tracking. They're putting up into the cloud, and then based on location, they're going to be able to tell you, the thing, maybe predict a migraine coming down the road, or have somebody who is prone to migraines on a certain day with foods. I mean, big data is a piece of this, and is a huge piece of this. And I love the fact that these companies are starting to come out now that are leveraging this data more so than any time before. Like, this is a clinical trial with 30,000 people. Like, that's and I think that's why I love this story about Kyruss. I wish I knew how to say it, but. If you have any examples about these kind of things out there where data is with a location layer helping people, helping patients, helping doctors like this, please reach out and let us know. Those are the three stories. Those are them. Groupon buying a company called CommerceInterface. Squeakee raises a small angel round, and Kyruss, who we've totally butchered their name now, raises $11 million Series B. Very cool. If your story is not up there, why the hell not? Start bragging. Maybe it was over Christmas. You got a check from your grandma. You got a little bit of extra cash in an envelope. It's a piece of investment. If you're going to put it into your business, reach out. Let us know. We'd love to feature you some way, shape, or form. One last piece. That's it. The SEEF. And then we're done.
There you go.
Our resource of the week. This is something, this is done by First Data. It is basically a primer for the mobile wallet. That's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah, and a good one at that. You can find this up at thelbma.com/research. It's called Transforming the Customer Experience, the Promise of Mobile Wallets. And so, obviously there's tons of talk. We talk on the show enough about mobile wallets and almost every week, or at least not the first week of January necessarily, but every week leading up to the holidays, there was like a new mobile wallet or something gets announced in the space. But for those of us who aren't living and breathing this every day, and you're looking for that sort of basic primer on, what is a mobile wallet? What's this segment of the industry talking about? What does it mean for customers? This is a great little primer document that they put out. So again, from first data, transforming the customer experience, the promise of mobile wallets.
Yeah, it is that. It's a good quick read, 13 pages, covers everything from NFC to QR codes and how it helps enable, and even starts on how do you start going down this path of mobile wallets. And yeah, I like that. So go to thelbma.com/research. It's the first thing you see there, first data, transforming the customer experience. Well, that is it. Those are the big stories of the past week and our great resource, and of course our great guest, Greg McCalister. Before we go, I mentioned this last week on our prediction show, which you should probably go and watch now if you're intrigued. That Asif, we sat down and you and I actually were asked to pen a chapter each for an upcoming book. This book is the Everything Guide to Mobile Apps. It is coming out sometime in January. This was actually put together by Peggy Ann Saltz, go Peggy, and Jennifer Morantz, who brought in probably, 20 experts in the field in the mobile space to contribute to this book. So there's 20 of us or so that have actually written chapters in this book, the Everything Guide to Mobile Apps. You know what? I don't know. It's cheap. I see it here as $12.21. But this is something that's definitely worthwhile if you want to support what we're doing here. And it was a fun project to work on. So please, it's called the Everything Guide to Mobile Apps. It should be out in late January. And nothing left to say except for when that book comes out, buy the book. And let us know how we're doing here. Episode number 111 is done. But please, we'd love some feedback. We'd love some insight. We'd love some inspiration. Please reach out. The email address is rob@untethered.tv or asif@thelbma.com. Follow us on Twitter at Rob Woodbridge or at Asif R. Khan. You can like us up on Facebook. You can do whatever you want. You can send smoke signals, give us a call, Skype us, whatever. We will be there for you. Just let us know how we can help and what we're missing in the show. And please, feedback is always important. This is going to be a great year for us, for the industry, for you as businesses. I want to make sure that this is the most relevant hour you spend in location-based marketing, because there is no other podcast that does this.
Absolutely, and on that note, we appreciate you taking time out of your schedules to listen and to watch us every week. It's been a blast putting this together every week. We love doing it, and we're going to continue doing it. And we've got a great audience now, and it's all of you that are out there watching. A huge following, and so we appreciate that. And because we have that, if you're out there listening and you're a company and you want some exposure, not just talk on the store, us covering you, but we're certainly open to sponsorship as well. So feel free to connect to us on that front. And with that, thanks for watching episode number 111.
See you next week, everybody.